I'm Andy Chanley from 88.5 FM, and welcome to our Here at Home video conference series. And joining me today, all the way from London, is that right?
Yes, North London, yeah.
Laura Marling is joining us today. It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Congratulations on the new LP. It's called Song for Our Daughter. It's out now. Held Down is the song you've been hearing on 88.5 FM this last week or two. Your seventh LP, Laura, and it's lovely. Congratulations on it.
Thank
Um,
you.
I'm struck by the album title, Song for Our Daughter. You do not currently have one of those, right?
No, I don't.
Um, Not to parse words too much, but I was actually intrigued by that it wasn't song to my daughter, it's song to our daughter. And it sounds like a co-parenting arrangement. You described the daughter for us in a few of the songs. Can you describe this other parent?
Well, I mean, it's all figurative, so it's all kind of, slightly obscure. But I think, it was a conscious decision to say our rather than my, because it is, you know, it's not just about my experience, it's about the experience. I don't know, because it's such a figurative thing that I'm talking about. I don't have a daughter. Um, I'm not really talking about the literal experience of bringing up a daughter, but more a kind of cultural generational idea about things you might want to hand down to a younger generation.
Yeah, you just turned 30 a couple of months ago. Do you feel like you've arrived at a place now that you know a thing or two, and you can now pass this collateral on to a new generation? Or in some of these songs, are you talking to yourself as much as to anybody else?
I think that's certainly true. I think all of that kind of I think particularly women are like a self-propelling entity. I think there's a where there's an equivalent sort of masculine lineage, father, son, whatever, filling of shoes. I think there's a reciprocal kind of maternal sororital lineage of women, and I think what the experience of being a woman in the world is very um, it's full of insight in this current cultural climate where the world, the shift in understanding of what we might have ingested about what it is to be a woman is changing. And I think it changes throughout your life. And certainly in my 20s, I found that I had to really comb through all the ideas that I'd taken in about what it is to be a woman, and figure out what it was for me.
Strange Girl, one of the songs on this new album, Song for Our Daughter. It sounds like on the surface, an ode to a woman or a girl of unconditional love for all of the different girls she is. And as you said, a human being and a woman can be many different people at once. Um, Again, you can't write something like that to someone else without feeling those things yourself. As you go through the day, are there many different Laura Marlings? I would suspect so.
Yes, you suspect exactly right. And I think that's like, that song in particular, though I don't, I try and avoid giving any kind of real literal insight into what the song was about for me. But, that is an amalgamation of all of the experiences of my friends and myself, and all of the kind of sort of adorable and annoying mistakes that you make when you're in your 20s, and you make them over and over again, and no one can tell you to stop making them because you won't listen until you learn, and that kind of thing.
That's right. Well, let's actually go back a little bit. This is my first time talking to you. So when you're 18 years old, you make your first album, Alas, I Cannot Swim. Right off the bat, you're up for a Mercury Prize. And you say at the time, the whole album is about being between 18 and 19. It's about love. It seems to me that you really strive very hard to be emotionally honest and non-fictional about your life at that moment in each of your albums. Does that ring true?
I'd say, I mean, I'd say no. I think I've always strived to be fictional, and I've always defended or tried to highlight the importance of that distinction, because I think it's nothing is verbatim, and to claim that it would be non-fictional would be a kind of weird, confusion of ethics, because it's not. It's every experience regurgitated into this particular form that's becomes consecrated. So, and when you're that age as well, when you're young, I say that the difference between 18-year-old me and now 30-year-old me is 18-year-old me or 18-year-old anybody is in this position in life where they feel like they're the center of their own movie, and you go through this necessary rite of passage, which is kind of self-absorbed, but it's fantastic, and the emotions are so such high stakes and such high intensity. You don't have any of the responsibility, real world responsibility. I mean, maybe you don't yet, and as you get older you realize that you're not special, and though that sounds really dreadful, actually that's quite an important revelation, and that there's all of this fantastic nuance to the interior lives of everyone that you know, and your parents, and everybody's been through this life and experienced
Hmm.
these great passions and losses.
Speaking to that, you get into your early 20s and you evolve into this storyteller that people like Paul Weller call dark and intense. And Jimmy Page is saying at age 23, he's saying she's a great guitar player. And that's a direct quote. Most people who are 23 years old and their frontal lobes aren't fully formed just yet, hearing things like that would tend to put them on the surface of Neptune emotionally and as far as ego is concerned. How did you process that? And now when you look at, that's 7 years ago and, several more albums, are you content with where your career is? If we forgot how to record suddenly, would you look back on it and say, I could be on the front porch, 80 years old, rocking and say, it was a job well done. You're self-actualized about it.
Yes, I mean, that's an amazing question. Yes, I do. And I think I feel very proud about the fact that I was never interested, for whatever reason. I had that kind of petulance when I was younger, where I just wasn't interested in popular culture. Um, so I never strived for it. And now I'd say I'm more interested in popular culture. But that early on rejection of the pursuit of any kind of success, which I very much succeeded at not achieving, um, has been the blessing, because I've got this really unusual, sustainable career that's very satisfying to me, creatively. So yeah, I'd be proud of it.
Talking about the new album again, "Held Down." This song, it's mesmerizing. For me, now I was born in '68, so as a young man, I'm growing up listening to AM radio, hearing like Olivia Newton-John, "Have You Never Been Mellow?" and "I Honestly Love You." The textures on this song, "Held Down," are transportative to me. It sounds so '70s and it just amazing. It's candy to me. That was a conscious effort to have that quality.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, my era. I collect vinyl from 1969, so
Mhm.
that's my era. 69. Well, I've expanded it recently to 71. Um, and there was something about, I've never really understood what it is. I think it might be like a kind of post-war generation, or the advancement of technology to whatever point it was at then. There's something about the texture and especially the mix, the new understanding of stereo and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That is my reference point. And the people that help me achieve that are obviously the people that I work with. I'm not a very good engineer, so.
Ethan Johns being one of those people that helps you do that. Um, you come from a musical family. Your mother was a music teacher. Your father in the recording business. So it's interesting to me, just as if I met someone who their father was a cardiologist, and so they became a cardiologist because they saw that as a viable avenue. It had to be a gift, perhaps, that you, from a young age, I would imagine, were able to see a recording career as not folly, as some households would, but a viable occupation.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it wasn't a shock to anybody, really. And it wasn't really a conscious decision either to become a musician. It just happened, it just was. So, and my dad ran this recording studio, which shut down when I was young. But, my family's life before I was born, I've got two older sisters, was being involved in this residential studio, having people come by, make their records. My mum would cook them their dinner or whatever. So it wasn't a huge surprise to people, that world.
Let me ask you this: coming from a family where music is in the house, can you tell me your first instrument? Was it a guitar or was it a piano? What was it?
It was a guitar, yeah. My dad gave me a three-quarter length Spanish guitar when I was 5,
Nylon strings?
9 on strings,
A
yeah.
little easier to play for a 5-year-old.
Exactly, yeah.
You remember the first song you ever wrote?
That I wrote, oh gosh.
And what
I
age
mean,
were you?
I remember making up songs when I was really little. I mean, nonsense songs when I was sort of 10 or 11. But I remember starting to take myself a bit more seriously when I was 14 or 15, as you do.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. Everything becomes a
yeah,
lot more serious when you hit 13, 14.
yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you took time out today. I know that it's dinner time where you are in England, and so you're forestalling your weekend for us. But just wanted to ask another question here before I let you go. What is the best meal you've prepared for yourself while at home in quarantine?
Oh, do you know what? My partner is a chef, so
Well, that solves that. Case
so
closed. That's
nothing. Everything I've eaten has been amazing.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the best restaurant in town is right there in your house. Well,
Yeah.
Laura Marling, once again, the new album is called "Song for Our Daughter." It's available now. You'll hear "Held Down" these days on 88.5 FM. Thank you so much for joining us here for the Here at Home series, and I wish you all the luck in the world. And hopefully, we'll see you back here in the States before too long, performing for us.
I hope so. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Bye.